In this lesson we're going to create a game level. Now this is where all the assets and scenes we've created in the scenes folder will come in really useful, because we need to make certain that each game level that we create is relevant to a difficulty. So generally at the beginning of a game, like in most games, the game begins easily, so it brings the players and motivates the players to get better and more used to the game. And as the levels increase, the level of difficulty will increase, but that's up to you to decide on that when you create your own project. But I'll show you here how to create a game level from scratch. Now we normally so far been going on to other node, but because we're going to create a level, which technically is what's called a node 2D, which we'll create more of later. If I go to the 2D scene, now I normally call the first level level 1, appropriately enough. Okay. Now you'll notice the node type is a node 2D. Now this is where we can build a level quite easily now. Because we've created all the scenes, we can simply drag the scenes we require onto the level, and they will then appear inside this game level. So let's start with the background. So if I move to the background scene here, drag the background onto the top of level 1, you'll notice the background will appear instantly in the correct place, because inside the scene we've done all the scaling and this type of thing. It will drop in there quite happily. Okay, so let's now drop a ground inside there. So the ground scene, now this scene will need to be moved, but you can see we're moving only the ground scene inside a game level. So if I click onto ground, drag it on top of level, not onto background, on level, you'll notice it's not quite in the right place. So what we need to do is move the ground, so with the background the ground selected, move on to the move and drag this down, and you'll notice that we can resize that however we please. So if I want to, you can see there's just about visible the bottom of the level. Now if it's not quite wide enough, you can soon scale that. So we can go to here, resize scale, and we can drag that as wide as we want. Because we're not actually interfering with the actual level itself, we're actually using the scenes now. Oops, Control Z. We can move that around with the move tool, and then we can drag that anywhere we want to, no problem at all. So that's the actual ground done. You can resize that as you please, that's totally up to you. The reason why I give it more room is because when we start testing the player, we're not going to run off the edge here and crash the game. So, but we'll cover more regarding screen extents in the future when we start programming or creating scripts. So the next thing we need to do, we'll put in a platform. So we can drag the platform onto the level. That comes in. Again, it's the same size what we created earlier. So we can move that platform here. Now the good thing about platforms, we can now duplicate the platforms and resize them and reorganize them anywhere we want to. So with the platform selected, if you want to duplicate it, right click, and you can see there's a duplicate option here, or you could use a shortcut key Control D to duplicate it. Okay, so I'm going to use right click, duplicate that. Now we have 2, and it's been automatically renamed to platform 2. So if I select platform 2 and move it, you can see both platforms are in place. Now it's up to you to place these platforms exactly where you want to, which I've got to say, platform isn't quite as easy at first scenes, because you've got to strategically put these platforms where your player can jump onto them, as well as transition between 2 or 3 of them. So that's totally up to you. So that's that particular part done. If we want to drag in a collectible, again, we can drag the apple in on top of level, and I'm going to shift that maybe to on roughly the platform. Now you may be wondering about these. Is there any particular order you got to drag them in? Yes, there is, definitely so, because as we move in a downward direction here, the nodes on the top are at the back of the scene. Because if I drag that background to here, you can see the background now is in front, which we don't want. So if we drag the background back to where it was, and the order of the scene is very similar to layers in your graphical programs like Photoshop and Critter and this type of thing. You got the background, next most level, etc. So bear that in mind. So one of the last things we put onto is the player, but I'll put an enemy on just so you can see it working. So the collectible's already there, the enemy is there. Again, we've got the B there, we can drag that around, let's say we can put it there, whatever. We don't need the game mode, we don't need we can put the exit transition on if you want, no problems. We can exit level, we can put that down the bottom here somewhere. It don't matter where you put it, you can decide that yourself. But the most important thing, you're creating a level now, not just the assets. The assets have been created in this particular case. Okay, we don't need the game over, we don't need the main menu just for now. We've already done the platform, and finally we'll drag in the player. So the player goes there, and then the player will generally sit right near the bottom there. So as we actually test this, the player will be on the ground. So let's go to save scene. We'll call this level 1, as we said before. Make sure it's in the scenes folder. Save. We're going to test it and see what happens. Now you can see we have a game level as opposed to just a scene. This is how to construct a level 1, a level 2, a level 3, etc. So this is how to build and put together all the hard work so far. We'll start creating animations for these collectibles and enemies, and more importantly, where the fun starts for the player in the next series of videos. So I'll see you then, but it's very, very important that you understand how to create a level from the assets you've created, and in this video we've done just that.